problem.
Let's see what happens.
Oh!
Diane was kicked out. Now
Yes,
it's
she was.
recording, though. So hopefully she'll jump back in.
So
No, I did not pick her specific. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. The main thing I'd like to cover today is just to make sure that your grade books are set up properly for our first couple terms together.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start by presenting my screen. And I'm going to do, actually, no, let me.
I can't see it.
You can't.
Uh-uh.
Let me try that. Oh, that's what I want.
Mm-hmm.
Do, 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 do.
Wow.
Can you see it?
Yes.
Yeah, but it's really small.
Really small.
Yeah, you're presenting to everyone like that. Yeah, never mind. I would say
Can you
something, but
read?
we're recording.
All right, so I'm going to go into one of my classes, and I haven't set up mine at all. So I'm going to pick my AM class. And then if I was prepared, I'd have the paper I've got over on the desk. No, there's a little piece of paper over by those laptops on the other side.
Baker, you
Hey,
might.
Baker,
Yeah.
the only thing I see is double pictures of everyone. I don't
Yeah.
see what you're presenting.
You don't see what I'm presenting.
Do you see a tiny little rectangle, Rodney?
All right, let me try something else.
Maybe you have to switch screens. Do you have to, like, are you seeing it on two screens, Bake? You know how we had to switch which one's the main screen? Wow, everybody's coming in now.
Eager for knowledge. We yearn for knowledge.
That's better.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's it. Is that what you did? Did you have to switch screen? Did you have to look
No, I
at the
just
screen?
went from, I'm not doing my screen now. I'm just doing a Google tab or a Chrome tab.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the way.
All right.
All right.
I'm just
so,
asking because of technical issues on Monday.
So here's my first class I'm going to do. So I'm in my AM class. On the left-hand side, I'm going to go into grade setup. And this is the way it looks from fresh. I haven't done a thing here this morning.
Right.
And the very first thing I'm going to do is
Folks-
I'm going to,
Folks, those of you that aren't muted, can you guys mute, please? Because Melvin's sounding funny to me. Thanks.
all right, so I need to add some categories. Now I have 5 categories in my class. So at the very top, we have this add button. And that brings up the category. I'm going to pick or type in the name of my category. My first one is classwork. And you'll notice that it popped up there because it remembers what I had last year. Calculated by, you have either total points or percent. And I'll give you a real quick what the difference is, but I go with percent. Let's say that we went with total points and you had 2 assignments that were in a quiz maybe. And so your first one was 10 points, but they only got 6, which we know is a 60. The second one was 100 points and they got all 100. So if you average those 2 together, the 60 and the 100, you would think, hey, 80% is probably what they have. If you go with percent, that's what that grade's going to be. If you go with total points, then it's going to take the 10 points possible from the first one, plus the 100 points, make 110 possible, and we take the 6 points that they got and the 100. So now they only have 106 out of 110. It's going to shift those grades way off. But if you want each assignment to be weighted the same, I guess is the best way to say it, across the board, I would go with percent. Up to you whether you want to drop the lowest. I never do. You're going to hit create. I have 4 more to go. So next is going to be practical skills. Again, I want percent. I'm going to do my professional skills. percent. Two more, hang with me. Tests and quizzes. And last but not least, my warm-ups. So now I have my 5 categories in there, but right now they're all equal because I have not weighted them. So at the very top, there is this little weight categories button. And when I click that, notice they are still all at 100%. So I have to change what each category is worth. So my top is 30%. Practical is 30. My professional is 10. My test and quizzes are 25. And of course, last but not least, to make 100, I have to have 5. So they should add up to 100 points or 100% overall. The next thing they would like you to do is think about, of these 5 categories, which category do you think you assign more grades to? And for me, that's probably going to be classwork. And so what I'm going to do to help me just a little bit, save me a couple of clicks now and then, is over here on the right, we got these stars. If I click the star for classwork or whatever category you use the most of, when you create a new assignment, that's automatically going to be the category that shows by default. So that's just going to help you that you don't have to always click the drop down and go pick that category. If we slide down just a little bit, under grading periods and final weights, by default, the weight is 100 and 100 for the 2 terms. FCPS would like you to change both of those to 0. Now, what that is going to do is it has something to do with the way that Schoology calculates the whole semester grading. FCPS doesn't let Schoology do that anyway, so that's just something they wanted added. Down toward the bottom under visibility, probably yours this year is already clicked here by default, this first one that says hide the overall grade. If not, go ahead. And then we want to save changes. Once we have done that, you should at the top see the green bar telling me that everything was saved, that we're in good shape. Now, one of the things I'm going to ask you to do when we go from term 1 to term 2, but especially when we go from semester 1 to semester 2, I know a couple of people had problems with their grades because some reason this weighted checkbox got unchecked. And so instead of their grades calculating the way they wanted them, it had their grades skewed a little bit because each category was equal. I'll send out an email if I can remember to do that at both term change and semester to remind you. Okay? Any questions so far?
I have a question because I do total points. Should I wait till the end?
You would just go ahead and use total points. It's just going to calculate different for you than it would be for me.
I just have assignments in my category name, but do I still, I don't check that weight categories then, do I?
Down here?
Up at the top where you just were on that blue button there. What do I do?
You wouldn't want weights if you were doing total points. You're right.
Okay, so I leave that.
You leave it unchecked.
Unchecked. Okay, thank you.
All right, so we have set up one class, but unfortunately I don't teach just one, I teach 2. And I don't want to have to go through all that rigmarole just to make sure, or, you know, to get it up to speed. I want a shortcut. We can copy all of that stuff into your other class or classes if you have more than one. At the very top, all the way to the right, is a copy settings button. When you click that, it's going to pop up and say, okay, what other class or classes do you want that to be copied into? So my AM and my PM are exactly the same when it comes to the grade setup. So I'm going to click the little checkbox for my PM class, and then I'm going to click copy. Again, the little green bar at the top tells me, hey, we copied it. But do I trust everybody? No. I want to go and make sure that everything is okay. So I'm going to go to courses, and I'm going to go into my PM class. I am also going to go back into my grade setup. I'm going to verify that I have my 5 categories, that my weights are set properly. But notice down here under grading periods and final weights, I'm back to that 100 instead of the zeros I put in before. So I'm going to change both of these down to 0. My height overall grade was already done by FCPS. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save Changes. And again, the green bar at the top tells me that everything's been saved. So both of my classes are now set up so that I can do assignments, pick the category I want, and continue with grading. Anybody have any questions on setting up the grade book? Chirp, chirp, chirp. That sounds good. So I have 2 more things specifically I would like to suggest to you. And the first one's an easy one. If you notice my courses there, you're seeing 12 of the 19 that I have available. But in order to make it easier for me and to make it easier for your students, my top 2 there on the left have pictures. And I suggest that you do this because your students are going to have multiple classes too. And the last thing they want to do is read some CommTech Analyst 1B. That doesn't make any sense to them. Section 112, that certainly doesn't help them out. A picture is worth 1,000 words. If you don't know how to do that, you go into the class in question, and I'm going to pick a different class this time. So by default, you're going to have this little blue funny looking thing. But if you hover over that picture, you get a little pop-up that says Edit Picture. If you click that, you have the option of picking something that Schoology already has, similar to that blue picture. And you can see the multiple GIF or cartoonish little pictures. Or we have a button here that says Attach File. And you can go pick something that is specific to your class. So if you're teaching, AOHP, maybe it's something medical. If you're teaching culinary arts, maybe it's a knife or maybe a fork and a knife, something that is telling them, hey, that class is whatever your class happens to be. You do have a size, can't be any more than 5 megs. And if you don't know what size an image that you're going to put in there is, number one, if you pick too big a size, it'll tell you. But it has to be something that's on your computer, so some image you've already downloaded from the web. But if you right-click on that image on your computer, you can go to Properties, and it'll tell you how large a file size it is. It just has to be under 5 meg. Okay? So if I wanted to pick something, and I probably don't have anything.
Hey, Melvin.
Yes.
Doesn't it have to be like a JPEG or something? I tried to bring a photo from my iPhone. It didn't work.
iPhones do some crazy crap. You have some non-standard phone. Let me see if I can find. These are all JPEG. Trying to think. JPEG. I should have. Oh, I know. I think I put some. Here we go. Yeah, I know it'll use other files because my morning and afternoon are PNGs. So I know it'll do those two for sure. It probably will do a GIF as well. But once you select your picture, wherever you have it stored on your computer, you're just going to hit open. It automatically populates over in the window, and then you can X out of the edit picture window. So that's just the first thing. All right. The other thing I would suggest, especially this year, and I think it'll really help you and the students, and that is on my class, if I slide down toward the bottom, you'll notice here where it says information. Notice what I have in that information box. I have my Google Meet link. So every morning, my kids can come into their Schoology, and they have this same setup on the left-hand side. They can slide down to the bottom. That is a clickable link. They can click that, and it automatically opens up into my Google Meet for the AM class. Now, you should have a different one for your PM class so the kids aren't showing up to the wrong class. But it's just a real quick, nice place for it to be that they can always reference it. Now, how did I make it? How did I put it there? I'm glad you asked. So let me, because I have to go from one tab to another, let me go to another tab, which happens to be my Google Calendar. Now, much like the one that you created for tonight, you need to have two different ones for next week. Again, one for your morning class, one for your afternoon. What you're going to do is click inside the box for the particular day. And what I did was I created one for my Monday class, being the AM class. On Tuesday, I created one for the PM class. And you don't have to do this every day of the week. Once you create it in the calendar, that link is good for several months, if not the entire year. If you do it straight from Google Meet, they are limited amount of time. You might get 24 hours out of it, and then they expire. So you really need to create these in the Google Calendar. So you're going to give it some sort of title. AM class, whatever you might like. You don't have to add a time, but since this is for our normal teaching time, I'm going to do 8:30 to 11 o'clock. Of course, we have the Add Google Meet button. You want to do that because otherwise you don't have that information. It creates a link, and you see it here. But what I'm going to do is click where it says up to 250 participants, because now you notice it's blue. It's now a clickable link. I'm going to right-click that meeting link, and I'm going to select Copy Link Address. That keeps all the clickable information in it. Last but not least, I have to save. Now you're going to go back to Schoology. So let me switch. Whoop, that was the wrong thing. I'm presenting my presenting. There's what I want. So I'm going to go into the class that I want to put this in, and I'm going to do this one I was playing with earlier. So you're going to go up here on the top left to Course Options. There's a little button here that says Edit Info. Now there's two neat things that are in here. The first one I'm going to show you, again, is something that might help you, and that is by default the information for that class comes up. Now, the one thing they don't want you to do is change your course name. So whatever eSchool populates it as, please leave that alone. But you can change your section. For me, I changed this 112 stuff to where it said AM, so that not only the students, but I can look at it quick and know, hey, that's the AM class or that's the PM class. So that's the first thing you can do. So I'm going to make mine say AM. And of course, you want to save and save often. But where am I going to put that clickable link? There are tabs across the top, and one of them is details. Details gives me a description box. I'm going to right click and paste that Google Meet link and hit Save Changes. Now that's in that information box. So if I go back to the home page for this class, slide to the bottom, there's that clickable link. And if I click that again, it automatically in another tab opens up my Google Meet, ready for me to click the join button. So every student can do that every morning without thinking, where's that email the teacher sent me with that link, or where did I save that? It's always there in Schoology. And I can tell you, it helps me too, because I don't have to go to the calendar or nothing. Any questions on that?
Yes, Melvin.
No.
That's a great, thank you for sharing that. That is awesome. How can we edit that link to maybe say Dooman AM? Like, I don't know that we can edit that link, can we?
You can't edit the link, but let me show you something you can do.
Okay.
So let me go back there. So again, course options, edit info, back to the details. So here is that link. Now I can't change that link, or that link probably won't work. But I can click in front of that link, hit enter, and then hit my up arrow key, and I can type, this is the link to get to my Google Meet, or anything else I want it to say. Hit Save Changes. Go back again to my home page, slide to the bottom, and there's that text. So if you want to have something special that says, this is the AM link, or well, let me even put it out this way. Let's say you want to share two links, one for the normal meeting, but one when you have a one-on-one or small groups. You could have a small groups link there as well that would be created in the calendar. That again is good for that entire year that you can all do. Any other questions?
Yeah, Melvin. Back at the calendar, when you set up that Google Meet link, I am now afraid that I may not have picked it and turned it a different color. So it is possible that you could copy and paste a dud link into the Schoology. I mean, I know I have a link at the bottom left-hand column like this, but I need to verify that, don't I?
If you do that and you've sent it out on an email or something, all the kid has to do is copy it and paste it in the URL in the browser.
Yeah,
I mean, most of the kids are probably going to be okay with that or understand that that's how it works. But it's much nicer if it, yes, it is a clickable link.
I say, can I add to Donnie's comment?
Sure.
You can make a unique username, Dooman CJAM, whatever it is you want to make it. You create a nickname, and you could post that nickname down there. Every time you initiate a new Google Meet using that nickname, it creates a new 10-digit Google code. So your link will not expire. It just assigns you a new code every time that you start the meet. This is what I've done for mine. And when you do this, if you post that link, your kids can get into that Google Meet without you being there. They cannot get into a Google Meet that you have nicknamed without you there. They can stay there forever if you don't kick them out.
Right.
But if you make a nickname, they can't get in without you. Where this link is always there that Melvin has, his kids could go in there anytime they want without him.
Right.
If you give it a nickname, they can't get in without you.
But they can still on their own create their own Google Meet and do that anyway.
They can, yes. But like, I kind of feel like if it's posted on my Schoology page, like
You're somewhat
they're
responsible.
following the FCPS breadcrumbs. If they do it on their own, that's
Yeah,
on them.
you've washed your hands of it.
Yeah. But so I went the
nickname route.
And Mike said about like, well, I hope your link doesn't expire. So then I went and did a little more research. And every time you go in, you get a new link. Because if you could send out an email.
Nickname instead of the link.
Right. And so if you need help with that, I can help you set up. But it's fairly easy. You just go to meet.google.com and that green box will pop up and it says join a meet or like nickname or something like that. And you just type your nickname there. And like I would, kind of type it, make sure that nobody has it, make it unique enough that, nobody else is going to want to, nobody else would have that.
Yeah, you definitely want, if you're going to go the nickname route, it really needs to be really unique for you. Because I know Mike was doing a trial earlier just to see a week ago. And so he put try in and he hit join. And all of a sudden he was in a class with somebody else. And he said, oh my, and he got out of it quick. He recognized them. It was somebody from a middle school here in the county. And it was just dumb luck. At the exact same time, they were trying something and they used the same TRY for the nickname. So it does have to be something that's unique. If you did English 11 and somebody in California also did English 11, guess what? You're now a great big class instead of just 4 class.
California, they're not going to be awake yet while Donnie's having class.
Maybe not.
But I would definitely name it something and maybe put like CTC or, maybe spell out criminal justice. And that way it stays the same for the entire time. Somebody in a group that I'm part of, she is planning to like, I guess, reward and whoever has like the highest score on something like she'll rename her class, her nickname every so often. And so like a kid who scores the highest on something would get to pick, obviously meeting a certain set of criteria, like what the nickname becomes. So they don't pick anything, but.
Right.
And then real quick on that, Diane, not to beat a dead horse, but so down at the information section at the bottom, it's just going to have your nickname. It won't have the full link, right?
Correct. Like I put meet.google.com Herndon Landscape.
Okay.
And I'm also trying to teach my kids to go to Meet through Drive. So if Schoology crashes and burns, you can open up your Drive account, click on the waffle, and then Meet is one of the icons that pops up. So they can get to it there, and it's not like they have to go to Schoology to find the code. We can still meet if
And it
Schoology
doesn't
crashes.
even have to be your Drive. All you got to do is go to google.com and you're going to have that waffle.
My plan for the first part of the week is to get them a lot more familiar with Google Drive and Schoology, because I have a feeling they have no idea what resources they have in Drive and Schoology.
Hey, great stuff. Melvin, one more. So I on the calendar, I picked the first day of school, Monday. I create the link. That's good, you're saying, for at least maybe the whole year. I don't have to go through on that calendar and click every single day we're going to have class.
No. Nope.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
I use the nickname too that Diane was talking about. I've been using it and it works great. And I have it on my information page on my Schoology. I just have my nickname just like Diane does.
I see Diane in the background. She's looking at Margie.
Hey, question for you, Melvin.
Sure.
So yesterday in that afternoon class that we had with Norm there, when probably scrambled my brain more than anything, but one thing I did get out of that was having a landing page, like having a Google Doc with all your different Meet links, your calendar, maybe like the PDF version for your textbook. Could we put a link to that doc in that information box instead of the Meet link? In other words, make that link to our landing page.
I don't see why you couldn't.
Okay, and you just link to the Google Doc instead.
Right.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, because I could put a link to any web page. I mean, for that matter, if you had, and I wouldn't necessarily put it there, but if you had resources that you know they're going to use all year, that, you know, maybe 4 or 5 particular websites, you could conceivably put it there. I think there's better places, but yeah, that would certainly be one option.
Okay, just an idea I had.
Yep.
Hey, Zook, the only thing with that is if you want them to get to that landing page when Schoology crashes, how do they click that link?
Yeah, they got to go to Schoology first. You're right.
True. I guess we're probably going to have to prepare for that anyways because it's inevitable.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like-
it's going to work smooth and seamless.
Like day
I
one.
I would say that's something that you share in Google Drive with them so that they have that document that they could access. And that's another reason why having your nickname for your Google Meet is a good idea.
Right. Any other questions?
Yeah, not related to this. It's that record.
Yes.
Reading that email from downtown that says you're going to have training on the record. So I'm assuming we just hit that record button, and then when we get out of the meeting, it's saved somewhere.
When you get done, like I'm going to go ahead and stop mine now because we covered what I needed. So I'm going to go to the